So my continuing education was kind of about biomechanics, how the body works, identifying compensatory strategies. He went into a lot of detail, and I learned a lot. What I'm going to show you today is what he takes most of his clients through, his assessment. He kind of changed it because of COVID. He can do it virtually as well too. So it's kind of cool. I'll show you those. We'll be able to talk about like how the body moves in different exercise positions, like squats, pressing, how to identify that kind of stuff. And then hopefully at the end we'll be able to like give some examples of like noticing different compensatory strategies and maybe even get into some case studies. So assessment, this is his definition of it, identifying the shape we see in front of us. So when someone walks into the gym, you can see if someone is walking like this, if they have an arch. You can tell a lot just by looking at where their big toe is compared to the rest of their toes. So just seeing that, you can get an idea of how you're going to program for that person, right? We all know if someone's like this, we're going to be doing a lot of no money's, opening up their chest. So a cool thing I had never seen before, but he calls it the ripple effect. His name's Alex, is the guy that I did the continuing ed through. So the pebble in the water is...
Do you have any background on him? Like any voice you know? I don't know who he is.
I could find it.
Okay.
He has a lot of degrees and a lot of different things. Yeah. So the pebble in the water is the area of compression, and the waves show where that compression can affect down the chain, which I've started to notice a lot with some of our clients is, let's say their hip is hurting them, you can see that compression in their knee and their shoulder all the way down the chain and how it affects even from someone's foot. It can go all the way up and down the chain, which is a good thing to look at if someone comes in with pain here. It's not always from that joint, right? We have to look above the joint, below the joint of where they're saying their pain is. So again, with the ripple effect, you can see a lot from just someone's shirt in general and where they're tight. So this is Alex, this is the guy. So what he's doing is he's standing out with his arms out straight ahead. And I put what he said, he noticed from the picture. He has good extension of his mid-thorax. So, can you see this? Okay, so he has good expansion here because there's no wrinkles there. His right hip, so where that blue arrow is, those wrinkles right there are very sharp, and he has a right hip hike. He's also very good at identifying this right away because he's seen so many different people. He has his clients send them a picture of his arms extended out, so he can notice it very well. Because of the right hip hike, he has compression, which is right here on his left side, and then it's going to be hard to see up here, but can you see like there's some wrinkles up in here too, but not on the right side? So his left shoulder can't protract, so he has some wrinkles there. Roger, would you, since you, or Heather, you could too, would you mind coming and showing us yours? What? Either one of you. Let's see if we can look at any wrinkles in Heather's shirt, see if we can figure out if she's compressed anywhere.
Do you want to have shirt loose or shirt tight?
That's fine.
Okay. Well, the right side, right?
So Heather has some sharp wrinkles right in here. She does have good mobility in her thoracic spine. You can see some wrinkles here too, so she's probably compressed right in here as well. Heather, where is your back pain normally? The left side? So, which side do you shift to in the squat?
My left side.
Your left side?
Take your shirt off. Take your shirt out. Let it hang. And just like jump up a couple times. There you go. Relax.
And then extend your arms out in front.
Oh, left side. Well, actually, I don't know.
It's a very interesting method to me.
Right now I see the back.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this This is kind of like even, no?
It
What do you
is kind
see?
of even now.
Huh?
It is kind of even now.
Is he
Okay.
protracting forward?
I think he's just reaching
Okay.
forwards, yeah. I think depending on like their tightness, you'll be able to see it more clearly than other people too. That's just like what he likes to use. I know he pointed out some stuff with his legs too, but
Question.
yeah.
In his picture, I see wrinkles on the left and right side. So how is he able to tell if it's a hip height on the right versus like the compression on the left?
I think because of the angle of those lines there, how they're a little higher, is causing that. And I think he knows his body
Yeah.
too, so I think he knows he has a right hip hike. This isn't the only way to assess someone, but it's just like
Of course.
it's a quick thing you can do virtually. And once you have other assessments too, you can look back at it and be like, oh, that makes sense why there were some there. I just thought it was interesting. I never heard of anything like
Wait,
it
so
before.
he's putting his left short, right? Because he has more wrinkles than left than right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this hip is up, so this whole side is compressed, which I think a few of our clients have, especially women that have been carrying babies and have back pain. I know I think he's pointing out this ankle is pronating too, but and his neck's compensating too because of it. I just thought it was interesting. So, actually, one of the biggest things you can see is if someone can expand their upper back too. That's a pretty easy one to see from behind. Okay, so these are all of the assessments he takes his clients through, and I'm going to show you all of these today. So, these are both active and passive measurements too. So the squat. He looks from the side, the front, the back. The side, he looks for where they stop and when do they start to hinge. So where the knees stop moving. So some people, when they squat, their knees are gonna keep bending, but at some point it's just gonna be they're forcing their hips down and their knees aren't gonna bend anymore. So that's something to look for, and probably where you would want to stop a client from going too deep for that compensation. At the front, you're looking at, are the knees bending? What are the ankles and feet doing? Is one hand reaching more forward? Meaning, so he has them squat with their arms extended out, and you can see if I go down and my one right arm's reaching a little more forward, there's gonna be a compensation in my hips. So that's another cue to look at too if you can't really see what their hips are doing, if they're wearing like baggy clothes. And then from the back, same thing. What are the ankles doing? Are they pronating, supinating? What are the knees doing? Which knee can you see more of? Meaning like from the back, if I squat down, maybe this knee turns out a little bit. You might be able to see it more than the other one. And then is there any hip shift? Is there a shoulder hike of that one arm too? And then these are some of the common squat compensations that you'll see. So hip shifting, we see a lot here. Hinging the squat. So hinging meaning their sacrum is nutated forward, so their sacrum's rotated forward, so they're in this position, and so it's hard for them to squat without the hinging. So that's the people that are dropping their chest. This is their squat versus. So he goes into the anatomy of it, but a squat, the movement of your pelvis is, I believe it's nutation, counter nutation, and then back to nutation. So if their pelvis is stuck, they can't re-counter nutate their pelvis or shift their hips, and so that's why their squat ends up being more of a hinge. You'll see feet turning out, so as they squat down, their feet are going to turn out and then come back up, and I have a video that'll show you that one better than I can show you. Knee valgus at sticking point, we see this commonly too. When they go down at that bottom position, their knees are going to come in, trying to create that internotation to get back up. And then butt link, so that's again the pelvis movement, so they cannot counter nutate their pelvis, and that's when you get that butt link. So here's the video of, that is cool just to see. I guess I don't need sound. So he's pointing out her right foot. So did you see how it turned out? It's turning
In and then up.
out.
He was pulling in her toes with one foot.
So her right foot, as she goes, this is her going down, it comes out, and then when she stands back up, it goes back in.
That's Rachel H.
Yeah. And she's one that has I think she has a hip problem from carrying her kids too. So he's saying this is lack of internal rotation at hip during squat because they don't have that internal rotation, they're compensating with their foot turning it out. Just another thing you can look at.
Sorry, is that what Jimmy does? Jimmy does something weird with his feet.
Jimmy's feet really, bad, I saw.
I think you're right, yeah. Steve A does that a lot too, so does Joey. They both, like, when they do a pistol squat, it's like their foot's like this. And like how, doesn't seem very comfortable, but that's like immediately how their foot goes for like a single-legged squat. So I think they're lacking, that internal rotation, either strength or just the ability to internally rotate their hip. Okay, the feet. He talks a lot about the feet. You can see a lot just from looking at someone's feet. So he has them send a picture of their feet in if they're virtual or looks at them in person. The position of orientation of the toes, which I have some pictures I'll show you of kind of what you can look for. The calcaneus position relative to the toes and tibial tuberosity. So the calcaneus is the heel, and some people, their calcaneus can be in, can be out, relative to where their toes are, and where your tibial tuberosity is that bump right underneath your knee. And he also looks at the tibia and femur relationship. I'm not going to go too much into that, but basically that's when you can get some rotation, because if my femur is going in and my tibia is going out, that's when people can get some like knee pain, hip pain, that kind of stuff. So he talks about 3 different kinds of people's feet. There's an early stance foot, a mid stance foot, and a late stance foot. Mid stance is going to be your ideal foot position or ideal foot that has the least issues with it, meaning like a late stance foot is going to have the most compensatory strategies. I have pictures that I'll show you. So early stance foot, heel strike position, meaning they carry a lot of their weight in their heels. External rotation happening at the hip. Most of these people have big toe separation. You can really see it in this girl here, and you can see it a little bit in that guy. They have a supinated foot, so a higher arch. Their pinky toe is on their side, and they carry more of their weight on the outside of the foot than their big toe. And their knees tend to face more inwards, so you can kind of see it with that there. Do you see how their knees are kind of turning in a little bit? What was I going to say with this? So what I've noticed too, I've been really trying to pay attention as I've been learning, asking where people feel like most of their weight is when they squat, when they stand. Like I ask, do you feel like you're leaning more on the out of your foot? Do you feel like you're more on your toes? Like where's your center of gravity? And it's helped to, I feel like it's been helping them to learn about their body too, but also to help their squat mobility and strength as well. So for these people, because their pressure's on the outside of their foot, you would want to help cue them to push through that big toe. Or like Heather did a presentation on wedging, you could wedge their big toe to focus on pushing through it. So I believe these aren't the most compensatory people, but it's not the ideal foot position or foot anatomy, I don't know what you would call it. Mid stance foot is the foot that you would want.
We got a question.
Oh,
Go back to the next slide, please.
okay.
So it's saying early stance foot, heel strike position. So heel strike, meaning that they're loaded in their heels more,
Yes.
but they're also loaded in the outside of their foot more?
Yeah, so it's like so he breaks up into 3 different steps of when you walk, like heel strike, mid stance, and then the toe off. And so he's saying these people are more in this position, and then they'll go mid stance, and then they'll go.
So they're going heel, outside foot, toes.
Yeah, so heel strike, I believe, is typically the outer part of that heel, and then it partway there, and then mid stance will be even, and then it's
Gotcha.
the toe off.
Okay.
Okay, mid stance, so the space is more even between the toes. They're facing straight ahead. The pinky toe's not on its side. The tibial tuberosity is more on the inside of the knee. You can't really see it, but it should be like right in line with the ankle.
So like this one right here, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
So some people's are gonna be more on the outside of their knee. I think that's gonna show in the late stance one. Says his knees are turning slightly out. I think it's another thing you can see if like people's knees touch or not in there, because some people like have the bow-legged knees where their knees don't touch, like Joey, Roger. So Roger probably has more of the late stance, but so more pronating of the foot. And then the late stance. So he says these people are the people with the most compensation. Loose relative motion between joints. Okay, so sway back, meaning they're so they're so tight in here that it's shoving their hips forward, so they're gonna be more on their toes now. They want to turn their feet out to create that internal rotation, so they're walking like, I guess that's called pigeon-footed. So pelvis is anteriorly, wow, can't say that word, oriented, so more weight is on their toes. So just like knowing some of that, you can see that they're already going to have a lot of compensations. They're probably going to have low back pain if their pelvis is like that and their weight's here. I noticed, Lauren, I don't know if you met her, but Alex Miranda, is that how you say her last name?
No idea, but yeah.
She has a lot of lower back pain, and I noticed when she's standing, it's like almost like this is her, like her heels are down, but she's so shoved forwards that her pelvis is probably stuck in that position too. But it would be cool just to even someone comes into the gym for the first time and you see their feet are standing like that, you probably already know we probably need to work on loosening up the lower back, trying to work on that pelvic tilt, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's all kind of goes into the first assessment of squat. So you're gonna pay attention a lot to the feet, like how they move in their squat and a thing. His next one is toe touch. So feet together, legs straight. You don't have to try and keep your back flat, but you wanna see how far they can reach down. Some people are only gonna be able to get to here without their knees really bending. Some to here, some to all the way down. So if they can only reach their knees, they're like super tight. Mid shin, they can nutate their pelvis but can't recounter nutate, so they can tilt it forwards but not back. And then full range is what the goal would be, to get full range. Can everyone here touch their feet, toes, straight legs?
Do you want to assess everybody right now?
Yeah, let's see. See how tight we are.
Heels
Other
together
hand.
or toes together?
Feet together. Yeah.
Knees locked out?
Yeah, try and keep your legs straight. Roger can. Everybody can. Feel your hammies?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Good deal. So he's showing in his picture, he's tight, so he can't reach all the way down. The arrows are where he's expanded, and then the red is where he's compressed.
So how do you know that? Like based on if you looked at somebody from the side, is it the curve is
I
expansion?
think it's,
or
the curve is
so
expansion.
the straight. So
Can
if
we
you're,
assess someone?
Sure.
Who did you think was the tightest?
no, you can't see it from where your angle is. You have to see it from the side, right?
That's what I'm,
Oh,
but she just.
Oh, Lauren looked the tightest in her hammies, but you also have a hammy.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
so what about
Yeah.
what
Probably
about
Taylor.
so is that expansion of thoracic or is that expansion of the hammies?
That's expansion of his thoracic.
Yeah, exactly. So based on this test.
So he's saying he's compressed there and in his neck, I guess.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's like if you're looking at somebody's spine, if they're fully rounded, they're not
They're
So-
not compressed.
they're not compressed. But if they start here,
Yeah.
then they're rounded, then they go straight line again.
Do I look rounded
Yeah, your lower back
everywhere? This is
for
rounded?
sure. Or no, that's
Right.
sorry. That's
Tight.
straight.
Your lower back was tight
Oh.
and
Everything else is good.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and my lower back I know is tight too.
Okay, so then based on this,
very similar to Caitlin.
so this is straight, right?
Yeah.
You're more rounded though.
Yeah, you're more rounded, but it's also muscle, I think.
Oh.
He has a super, like, he's really muscular right there.
So that's what the guy said. It's like I can't
Exactly.
decompress each one at a time.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah,
like one
like
straight block. Feet together. Come on, grab on feet.
My lower back is straight too.
Do that.
I'm surprised by how rounded your thoracic is though.
Thanks.
That's what we're measuring for sure. Let's see what it is.
Huh?
Let's see what it is.
I don't know if it's a great assessment for her. She's gonna hesitate regardless.
Keep your
Yeah,
knees
that's
bent. Just focus on your back.
Yeah, you're gonna
That's
ask
loud.
her.
My lower back straight.
I mean, almost lower back into thoracic.
Yeah.
Straight?
Like you're tighter in your thoracic than anyone else has been. Your lower thoracic, at least, right?
Yeah, it's like right in here.
She's straight longer.
No, you're
That's
just
all
folding in
straight.
half. You're
Yeah.
round in your lower back too.
What's the
It's
problem?
A plus right there.
What do you mean? That's not a problem. That's a good thing.
I realize how it can be a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
That's what I was thinking.
Absolutely.
What's the bad thing then?
I mean, you can be unstable and not really control it, or
That's exactly my issues.
Yeah.
And I don't have
your mom is really flexible.
super
She
flexible. So
is.
was my dad.
Like, and then put the other one on top, and I was like, gross.
She's
fake
with
me.
Yeah.
I know that's
Are
okay.
you serious?
That's why I was.
Oh my
Well,
god.
to that, and she has a fake knee and can do that?
Well, we were taking we took, or in our acro class one time, they're like, oh, let's all share a stretch. And this girl's like, oh, I love this stretch. You go like this, and you line your feet up, and you go like this, and you line. Literally, I was the only one in the room who could do it. Everyone else was like, oh, that's such a good stretch. I'm like,
That's
I don't
it?
feeling
I don't
Yeah,
remember
try
what.
it. You think it's simple, and then you try to do it. No, your knee has to be, your foot has to be on top of your knee.
Oh shit.
And then that foot has to be under that knee, and it should be touching.
Oh, my hips just popped.
Definitely. Definitely
Oh, that's
not gonna
good.
happen.
Bring your bottom foot out, Caitlin.
Damn, you're right.
See, my
I
hips
can't
have
do
a
that.
lot.
Oh!
Wait, what? So bring
It's a
your
good
foot
shot.
Bring that
should be on
knee.
top of that knee.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely
You're
tighter
really
this way.
Sit on my.
I
You
do.
sit on
Your toe
mine.
out, for sure.
Yeah.
So that was
That's a good one. I need to do that.
I never
one.
knew
I don't think it's a stretch that you get in, because I remember her being like, yeah, it's such a great stretch. I was like, I literally don't know.
Like I could eat dinner like this.
That's lack of internal rotation. Right? This is we lack of internal rotation.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
The knees going out, yeah.
Yeah, lack of
Yeah.
internal rotation. Okay. Yeah, that's based on the testing. Yeah, we did. Yeah, okay.
Your left was tighter.
I don't know.
You're right.
I wasn't
No.
paying attention to it.
Um,
My knees just hurt doing it, that's all.
but looking at this, like you could find some people that can't get as low, and so you can, seeing where they're compressed, expanded, you can use that when you program like different. What stretches would you want to incorporate? That kind of stuff. What exercises would you avoid? All of that.
I think that'd be a good one to add to our assessment, just because it's really simple.
Yeah. Hold on. Feet together, let's straight. Can they compress? 3 faces, knees compressed.
What do you notice about that guy's knees though?
He
They're not
can't keep
straight.
them straight.
They're
Yeah.
not straight at all.
Yeah.
They're not even
He
semi-straight.
said like as much as you can, keep your knees straight
So com-
and reach forwards.
So his knees are compressed. Is that what he's
Or
saying?
his hamstrings.
It
Probably.
says 3 faces, knees compressed, basically everywhere tight spot. That's
So meaning if you can only reach your knees, you're
Oh, I see.
tight.
Okay, I see.
Everywhere.
Got it.
tight, tight. Mid shin, it's your pelvis that,
Okay.
and you'll see your pelvis, if you can only reach mid-shin, their squat is gonna look like, I believe it was, they hinge it. No, they'll have a butt wing, so,
If they can only reach to mid, if
To
you can't reach to
mid-shin.
your toes.
yeah, probably.
So basically, you check knees, shins, toes. Toes would be already the first step, and after you get to toes, then you're checking the back to see where it's arch, where it's straight.
Yeah, you could probably look at their back too, even
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they
yeah.
only reach their knees.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's good for everyone to do that too, because they probably don't do that a lot. This next one is seated thoracic rotation. So this is testing your rotation. Are you able to rotate more to one side than the other? Which it's surprising most people can rotate better to one side than the other. So what he has his clients do is they're gonna sit on a box or a bench. They're gonna have a yoga block between their knees just to keep their hips where they are. You're gonna keep your arms straight and you're gonna twist as much as you can towards one side. Then you'll do the same thing on the other side. The goal on each side is about 45 to 60 degrees on each side. The yoga block forces your elbows at 90 forces internal rotation of your ribs. So it will show more of actually what they have in that thoracic rotation. So turning allows for expansion on the back side, better shoulder flexion on the side that you're turning to. So meaning if I'm turning towards my left, I'm gonna have to expand this side to compress my other side. Do we wanna try it?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, make out your yoga block.
I'll figure out how it floss.
Yeah.
I think I know a lot of mine.
I just need to be reminded of mine.
Is this too low?
Try this one.
Has she done this with you before, Tyler?
No.
Okay.
Wanna do try this one?
Has anyone done it?
No.
I tried it with
I
Heather.
haven't yet.
I don't think I tried it with you.
No, I just did it in PT, like I believe it.
Oh, you did?
The
Which
same
side
I
thing?
mean, not
Tighter.
this, no, not the
Oh.
same drill, but the rotation.
Alright. You're gonna have your arms out in front, and now twist as much as you can towards your left.
Try to stay serious, Tyler.
Not possible.
Okay?
Good.
Now twist towards your right. Ooh!
What happened?
What?
She's a lot tighter.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sure.
She
Well,
went
let me-
left a lot more.
Go that way? Okay, let's switch. Really? I see the same. You see still tightness?
Well, not, I can't see from
Go again?
So where would you be, in front or behind?
In front.
In front.
Okay.
I don't see
No, I
it.
guess she's pretty
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. It's like, how do you actually measure it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hard part.
Next.
Yeah, watch, you'll see a drastic difference. I already did.
I would think you'd see that should have been me too. Okay.
Oh,
You're definitely
Got cramp.
looser than, yeah, than Taylor.
No. I mean, maybe this side's tighter.
That says.
Try to get one more time. No.
Oh wait.
No. The tattoo makes it.
Right?
Right? It seems the
Just
same,
doing
right?
it.
It does seem the
It
same.
seems the same.
That felt way better than it did, but I just got adjusted yesterday, so that could be why.
At the chiropractor?
What side was tighter?
You didn't get adjusted, did you?
What side was
I
tighter?
mean, that's what she
You
was
popped?
doing to me is adjusting.
Oh, I know
for
she's
sure.
popped.
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
Is that the
I guess I
same
shouldn't use the
place?
word adjusting. It's like she's manipulating my body.
So I'm pushing in, right?
Yeah, not super hard. Ooh.
Oh gosh.
That's like way tighter.
Yeah.
Roger,
Maybe
am
it's
I looser than
One more time.
Oh my god.
Is that bad?
You're not ready.
You're
at
probably
all.
getting like
You might be
maybe
getting.
45.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh shit, really?
It's really shitty.
I know my thoracic was bad, I didn't know it was that bad. Damn. I mean, I feel like it can go further.
Like-
Did you get cramps up here? I was getting cramps in my
Sometimes.
sides.
I get cramps when I turn
Oh, that's
too.
right.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Oh.
Shit.
I don't know about this side.
Ooh.
Nope. I mean, still
But
better
you're
than
not-
most of us, but. Or-
Yeah.
It's
Wait, you do that side?
It's still way better than Roger, but that's like 50 or 60.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. That's probably like 45.
I feel like
Yeah,
her
you're
belly,
right,
her
so
belly's
it's-
different though. Do it one more time. Watch her belly on this side. It moves a lot smoother, but then the other side doesn't move
What do
as
you
well.
feel, Lauren?
I feel it on my right side.
Going this way now.
Tightness, yeah.
Yeah, look at her belly. I don't know.
Oh,
it
you're
seems like her
fighting.
belly.
She's fighting harder on
Yeah,
this side.
amazing,
That's what
yeah.
she's doing, which that's the side she'll stay around.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
Which is your
everybody's-
bad shoulder?
My left.
Damn.
Fail.
Alright. So you can see a difference between sides, or just both really tight on mine?
No,
I
your
think your right
side's-
side is
yeah.
tighter,
Going
but
towards
you're
the
also
Your
like,
right side might be like 20 degrees.
Going
you also weren't moving like at all.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Alright.
But most of us are like loose compared to the average person we see here.
Absolutely.
So when you do it to like someone
They're not gonna move.
first walking in, you probably will see a big difference on one side, or you probably won't get the 45 to 60.
So I guess the question is okay, Roger's your client, and he has shitty right side rotation. What do you do?
So you would program more exercises rotating towards his right, or like alternating exercises like the alternating banded row, that kind of stuff. Warm up with thoracic rotation, like book openers, like that kind of stuff.
On just that side though.
Yeah, I mean, for him, I'd probably do both.
So me, I need to go that way more,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Need
You're
to
not
rotate.
great on either side, but
And that's my shooting side.
I was thinking that. I was just thinking that too.
Yeah.
so maybe you're compressed from.
Yeah. I guess.
But you also are compressed from breathing on your right. Oh wait, no, you swim. You only breathe on your right when you swim.
I used to. Now I breathe on my left. I'm trying to switch it completely. For years.
Interesting. Yeah, I thought that was a good one,
Huh.
just to see where
Yeah,
they're
those are
tight on
both
one
good
side.
assessments. Like they're very quick and simple.
Yeah.
Too. They don't take forever.
You probably can get learn about their QL too.
For sure.
I didn't try that on Paul H, but actually no, I think I did, and he was the same. Okay, so supine shoulder flexion. So you're gonna lay on the ground, palms facing up, and then so Heather, I showed you this one too, but you're gonna try and get your arms all the way overhead. When your elbows start to turn out, or see how my hands aren't all the way down, that's when you call their shoulder flexion. So mine's probably about
So
here.
you want to not bend your elbows.
You want to keep your elbows straight and keep your
Palms
hands
pointing down or pointing towards the floor.
down. Yeah.
Towards the floor. Okay.
You can go both at the same time. You can do one at a time too.
Okay.
Depending on the person, like if someone comes with a shoulder pain, you might not even be able to do this assessment altogether. So basically saying when the elbow starts to turn is that reflects internal rotation, which is that compression.
Why this way?
That's just gonna do the internal rotation.
Yeah, and it's palms facing ground.
What's it looking on?
Yeah, wait a second.
That's
Oh.
No, that's
This.
your elbow.
Okay.
oh, it's this guy. Yeah, it's this guy.
Okay.
I know he said, I think it was because of, you're externally rotating first, and then you'll be able to see more of where, I know he answered that question,
I was just curious.
yeah.
Did you make palms up?
Yeah, palms facing ground. Is that what I did? Yeah.
No.
You did the other way. You did this.
Oh, palms facing ground.
But you were facing the ground. It was just like this.
The back, when you did it.
Yeah, you didn't do that.
You did this
I
way.
did the other way? Oh,
Yeah.
palms
This
facing
is
ground.
really impressive.
Oh.
Okay.
Very good. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like sitting here like, how do you do that?
Palms
so
facing
palms
ground. Sorry. Supine. Laying on back. Yeah. Okay. Palms facing ground. Up overhead. Basically testing shoulder flexion. You do one.
Testing shoulder flexion.
Shoulder flexion. Yeah. You can do one at a time, both at the same time.
You want
What
what?
do Taylor?
Does it matter what my legs are doing?
No, he says he does it
You
on
can be against-
supine rather than standing, just to take out the complexity. And you want to try not, don't like force your low back down, but try not to let it like arch.
Kate, isn't this the one you had me with my feet on the wall?
That was,
A different one?
yeah.
Alright.
Wait.
It's
too late now.
Are your elbows bending?
Your elbows are
Yeah.
not locked out.
There you go.
Go back again.
I'm trying not to overarch your back.
Nice and slow.
Are you telling them not to overarch their back?
Yeah.
Oh, you are. Okay.
But not to force it down, right?
Definitely different between right and left for sure.
Mhm.
Good for that.
I think I'm at my next one.
Look how much closer her right arm is to her left.
Left,
Yeah.
left arm is not right.
Are you, which hip is tighter, Taylor?
Alright.
That
She's
makes
also
sense.
had shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
On my right.
Yeah, so your right shoulder is tighter. For sure.
Shocking.
That's a good one too, just to see.
Yeah.
She's done it on me.
Okay.
There's not much to see.
So I'm trying not to just relax my back.
Yeah. Then when you feel your elbows start to turn, stop. I think it's pretty even.
I feel like it's really hard to feel in your elbows.
I feel a lot more in my right lat, my right shoulder blade.
Your left is looser.
My left is what?
Looser.
My
Yeah,
right shoulder
now-
blade is
It looks
cramping.
like
Now your
it's
left
slightly
is
lower.
down, yeah.
My right shoulder blade is cramping right now. Right here
You were
is cramping.
tighter going to the right too.
The
on
left
your-
side is worse.
That makes sense if that's your shooting arm.
Let's see it more.
My hands this way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when my elbows are starting to turn out.
They seem good.
That's not
I guess it's when you're done. Mhm.
good.
Yeah, they're both
You
compressed.
have the best shoulder flexion so far.
It's definitely something different with her right though. I just can't tell what it is.
Oh, her elbow turns.
Yeah, her elbow, your elbow turns on the right.
Like way up.
Yeah, yeah. Go
Go
back.
back. Now go again. Right there, it starts to turn on your right. So that right
That's
is
my
down.
left.
Oh. Well, on both then.
My elbow starts to turn here.
Yeah.
Go all the way again.
Don't overthink it.
It's right, it's both of the elbows. Like
Yeah, so
slightly,
your
yeah.
shoulder flexion probably stops about technically there.
So you see the elbows
It's really weird to see
turn.
the elbows, yeah.
Or hand.
So
good
can you
hand.
That's
not
what I
force the elbows to stay up? It's just natural. It's gonna turn.
If
I don't know,
it-
just
I
maybe
think if
it's-
you're tight, I think it automatically will.
Oh, I don't think my turn. I didn't
So
see
they're supposed to be pointed out the whole time? Pointed away?
that elbow. This right.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
pointed
it seems
away.
like.
Or your hands too.
I literally can't feel.
That's,
See
yeah,
what
that's
you
what,
guys see.
Yeah.
when Caitlin and I were doing it with me, that's what we couldn't, like, neither of us could see it as.
Yeah.
I don't see
I
any.
think you
Yeah,
don't
I don't
have
see
it.
anything.
No, stop it point. It just keeps going straight back behind you.
I guess you would, if someone's super tight when they go, they would end up like.
Yeah.
Maybe none of us have
That's what it felt like my arm wanted
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah,
It
that's
feels like
That
you're
way you're
sit-
not seeing it, really.
Yeah.
That
I feel like your
one-
right shoulder.
It would be
wanted to
interesting
turn
to do
in.
on
I
someone
like
Oh,
super
that.
yeah.
tight.
Tell me more
So
comfortable.
everyone
Like
knows
really
tight.
see
Yeah,
it.
I want to go like this instead
Yeah.
of like this. It's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can you reach my water?
Yeah, I spilled it already.
Okay, so that'll probably, so this could give you an idea of what, if you should avoid anything overhead or work on like landmine, that kind of stuff. See if one side's a lot tighter than the other. I think it was Jim H also had, his one shoulder was a lot tighter than the other too, so it'd be interesting to see like what happens to his too.
He hasn't been back, by the way, because his hemoglobins are very low.
Wasn't he on a cruise?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's back.
Yeah, I'm
And
back.
Oh, really?
They just
he should be in
diagnosed.
like 150 plus, and he's at like in the 90s.
Oh wow. Alright, this one. Anatomy identifies where your manubrium and sternal body expansion is and your pelvis rotation to the opposite side. So you're trying to get your hand to your shoulder blade without the shoulder rounding forward. So mine rounds forward, so I can't do it. Heather has a good example of the full shebang on this one. But he breaks down into 3 different
So
phases,
his
just
is
like
not
this
running
one.
forward, right?
His is no, his is not.
Yeah, that's
Really?
what I thought. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I
I
mean,
don't
you're
think
talking
so.
about like mine comes
Yeah, no,
immediately.
yeah,
forward.
true, yeah.
Like I can't keep with that.
Yeah. So he has 3 phases, just like that toe touch one, showing the 3 different compressed phases. Do we want to try it?
Yep.
Go through it.
This one you'll probably be able to feel one side a lot more than the other.
What's the maneuver?
That's
Oh.
right in the middle here. It's like the coccyx here, the manubrium of your sternum.
She's scapula wings a lot more on her left side.
Her shoulder's rounding a little bit. Try your other side.
You move your haircut. Yeah, hold on, you're winging on that side too.
Does one
Are you
feel
looking
tighter?
for a wing too? Is that what you said?
I wasn't. I mean, she didn't say that. I just
Oh.
saw it. But he's winging on his too.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be in this.
Probably.
Alright, so what do we know based on what we see Taylor? That
She's-
shoulder rounds forward, right?
She's in the mid one. She has the rolling here, but she can reach the
So low
shoulder
back.
blade.
So what's number? How do you tell the difference between 1, 2, and 3?
So if they can only get to here, that's
Oh,
one.
low
2
back.
is
Okay.
rolling. 3 is Heather can show you what 3
So-
looks like.
So if it,
Oh,
I can only get here, that means my whole chest is tight and I need to open up.
Entire chest wall is tight. Yeah.
Now if I can get here,
It means you
That's
have
not
sternal body expansion, but you have compression in your manubrium.
How do you not
so what is that?
be
How do you
compressed?
how do you work on that? No, the middle one.
I think breathing drills. I think.
Okay, and then full knee go
Come on,
forward.
my true.
Without
Come on,
roll.
my true. Bridget, see?
Alright, hold on. So like this.
I don't. Are you rolling?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, your shoulder's rounding. Oh, yeah.
It is?
Yeah, good from the side. Look from the side.
Yeah.
You know?
It looks
Unless
similar
I'm
to
not
that guy, right?
understanding what
saying.
the rolling
Yeah.
means.
It feels like that.
Doesn't
seem like my shirt's too folded. I think this one would be. Yeah, this one fits worse.
Oh wow. Yeah. Way tighter.
But that's
Wait, have they do yours?
This
I
one
don't
fits
think you round.
See, cause she doesn't, yeah, she doesn't,
Yeah, that's.
it stays normal.
Yeah.
This side's even normal.
See, that's better.
You, like, do
That's
your
all.
hair like
My gosh, seriously.
holy shit.
But I mean, it's not a good thing, obviously. Like I wouldn't be as much pain as I was if it was a good thing.
Mid back? You're not rolling forward, so that's good.
Yeah, if I had long hair, guys, I could do my hair like that.
You could. You can clasp your necklace like that.
Oh, hi, Punchy Rose.
So you're reaching the medial
It's
border.
okay, Punchy Rose.
Is it rounding?
Yeah, but
I
are
think
they
it's rounding
rounding?
forward.
No.
Just
no,
doesn't seem
No,
rounding
not-
forward.
no, round your shoulder forward. You can intentionally do it. Go ahead and let it go forward.
Oh, that's what mine feels like.
Yeah, no, you're not rounding forward.
Very good.
Where you at?
I'm definitely round forward.
Yeah, that's definitely rolling
Like-
forward.
That's you trying to force it back.
Interesting.
But you're getting to your mid back.
Yeah.
So your
Here too, right?
sternal body expansion compression and so,
So-
you're compressing your chest?
So
Yeah.
really, we can only do something about the first one.
Sorry, the manubrium is the top of the sternum, then it's your sternal body, and then it's your coccyx. If that helps.
Your cossack is,
In
I
your
thought you were-
Oh wait, what's this thing? The tip of your
Xiphoid.
yes,
The
xiphoid
xiphoid.
process. Yes. Okay. So another way to test shoulder.
She was just banging on and none of us know.
Not you better not poop.
So this is the one where where we have the foot on the wall. So
Oh, yeah.
Hip flexion, he basically says hip flexion is going to be better on the side that the sacrum is rotating towards. So, Roger, based off your first ones, we could assume that you're going to have better hip flexion on your left side because you're better rotating towards that side.
Okay.
So, he has someone lay with their feet against the wall, and then he wants you to cue bring your knee towards your shoulder because you're going to see people compensate by coming out wide. So you're going to come up, and then I think the ideal range is 120, and then you'll might be able to see or feel a difference on people's hips too.
So he's. You don't have to keep your ankle flexed, right?
You want to push.
No, sorry,
into
the opposite.
wall.
The one coming off.
Oh no.
Okay.
Let's see. So this is kind of cool too. If someone has like shoulder pain and can't do the shoulder flexion one, you can tell a lot from someone's hip flexion test of what their shoulder is going to be able to do too.
So that means the whole side of the body then is probably tight?
Probably from like that ripple effect. And what else was I gonna say? He also says to watch if their pelvis rolls. Like if I pull this one up, I don't want to let like this roll out or in. I want to try and keep that other hip where it is, because some compensation will be like to open up that hip. You want to try it?
Just so you know, you have 12 minutes.
Okay. We might have to break this up into two things.
Am I trying to keep
Oh,
my
yeah.
back flat or no?
Yes, but not like overdoing it. Okay. Then you want to push your right into the wall.
Push.
Okay, that's probably 120. Try your other one.
Ooh,
That's tighter.
That's tighter for sure.
I usually start to punch down.
And your right shoulder was tighter too.
Do I go again or is that it?
Do it one more time.
Oh.
Try to relax your ankle. Left. Yeah. Okay.
That's
switch.
at least 120. Yeah.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah. Roger, you want to try it?
So which one do you think is tighter? Just ahead of time?
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
Let's try left first.
Don't try not to let your knee come out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot
Okay.
tighter.
Really?
Does it pinch?
No.
You don't feel a difference? Okay, go again. Yeah, it's tighter on the right.
Like, where am I at? How much?
It's probably like that much. If I had a ruler, I could. That's a good idea. I could use a ruler.
We have angle measurements.
Oh, I guess you could measure the angle of the hip.
I'll
And
check.
then that's
I'll
how
check.
much, right?
Do we think my left is gonna be better?
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh wow. Okay. They look pretty even. I don't know how to use this thing.
Put the dot on
Where the femur would be, right? Head?
the
Femur head?
That's Italian.
connection.
What is it?
That's Italian.
Where it connects. That's good.
If you
I got
measure this
110.
way, this is gonna. What'd you say?
I think I got 110. Yeah, I got 110. No. Yeah. Both of yours look pretty even actually.
Those feel tight.
They feel
That's
tight.
at least 120. He says 120 is the norm. Is what you want to aim for. Very good.
You're gonna.
Okay, I think there's only a few more. So this is similar, same idea. Foot's on the wall, but now you're keeping the leg straight, and it's measuring expansion of your lower pelvis. So he has it into 3 phases again. 0 to 45 degrees would be really tight compression of the posterior pelvis, so your deep external rotators. 45 to 70 would be you're able to expand your posterior pelvis, and then over 70 you're able to recounternutate your pelvis, so you have mobility in your pelvis. And oh, this is the one, wrong one, but this is one where you want to watch the other leg rolling out. We can practice that another time. Infrasternal angle. So this is the last measurement of his assessment. Your infrasternal angle is the angle between your top 2 ribs. And so what he has people do is arms are overhead if they can. You instruct them to take a full inhale and a full exhale. So when they take a deep breath, if the angle does not change from wide, it stays at the same spot, they're going to be wide. If it becomes more narrow than when they started, they're going to be a narrow. And then if it moves with them, he calls it dynamic. And that's important because it can help program exercises, and depending on your angle type, if you're wide, if you're narrow, it'll give you an idea of like where you're tight, what forces you're able to produce, that kind of thing, which I have some slides that'll make more sense. Do we want to practice that one?
You think you got it on all of us except for Lauren, probably.
Yeah.
Who am I?
Presentation. What do I do?
Okay,
yeah,
so
same as Laura.
you're gonna lay on your back, arms overhead. You're gonna take a deep breath in through your nose, and then I'm gonna feel here, and then you're gonna exhale all of that air out. Okay?
So my legs back straight doesn't.
And they can be bent. I'm gonna feel your 2 upper ribs. Okay. And then exhale. Okay, so you got a little more
Yeah, right?
narrow.
I saw
So
that.
she's probably a narrow.
Interesting. Let me try it one more time.
So what does that mean?
What?
I'll get to
Oh,
that.
I stayed wide last time you did it, right? Right?
I think so. Okay. Yeah, you really didn't move too much. I'm not sure what angle that is though.
What do you mean? If it doesn't move, it's wide.
But like I think depending on the angle of it, it can tell you too. I think that's what this 90 to 100 is. This is just some idea. Like this is your perfect client or someone that has no compensation at all. Is like full depth squat that can touch the floor without spine compression. Full hip flexion, all of that. A dynamic, I say. I don't think this has to do with like ideal, but so
Foot on wall, hip flexion 180 degrees? That's absurd. That's like your knee being here, right?
My
Right?
knee can go there.
Huh?
Yeah, my knee. Yeah, that's a babe in my.
But
I'm not even kidding. My massage therapist was stretching me the other day.
you're
She-
letting it go out. That's
Yeah.
what you told me to keep it in.
Well, that's also the structure of my hips, though, because my hips face this way. So, like, it's really natural for me to want to go like this. Otherwise,
That's
I'm
still
like,
not 180. You're not touching your knee to the floor,
well,
bro.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when I was getting a massage the other day, she kept pushing and pushing and pushing, but that was pushing, not just.
180?
Passively.
That's the max score you want to go for? That's this.
Did you make this
when your
up,
body's
Ava?
here.
I think 120 is what he said is like the normal average, and then like I guess your goal like in a perfect world would be to get it to one.
We're
Yeah,
talking about
'cause
the
if you're
same
like
one.
this, then I can, well, my hip,
So,
obviously,
yeah.
but yeah, I can
Yeah.
put all the way.
Yeah.
Alright, can we do the fill in the wall one? We haven't done that one yet, right?
Yeah, we
That's
did.
the last one we did.
The straight leg one we didn't do.
No, the one we said we'll do later.
Yeah.
That's the last one we're missing?
Of the assessment, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna talk a little bit more about the difference
You
between a
just
wide
go
and a
on,
narrow.
Caitlin, you just go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so a wide. These are your high force producers. So when I think of someone with a wide, I think of like Danielle, you. She was a shot put thrower.
Do you test her?
No, but just like knowing how she moves, I could see that too. Does anyone else come to mind?
Michael K.
Like, okay.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, for
got
sure.
wide.
Way better at
You
hinging.
can even see it on.
Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah.
what I was gonna say.
Even though Lindsay is, like seems narrow, I think she
Who?
is
Lindsay?
Lindsay V.
Really?
She's way better at but it might be her femur length too, but she's way better at hinging. They're biased into an anterior pelvic tilt orientation versus a narrow.
I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland is wide too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So for these, you want to emphasize external rotation, eccentrics, and inhalation bias activities because they're gonna be a lot more stiff, and they're gonna be more here.
Talking about for internal, for
So this is
narrows.
this is a wide. They're
Oh.
they're more compressed,
Yeah.
and so you want to open
It's
them
similar to what I
up.
talked about in my presentation.
Yeah.
yeah, but this is what drove me crazy because I didn't. It's the complete opposite of what I expected.
So their tissues are more concentric oriented, meaning. Do we all know what concentric
Power.
means?
Like
Yeah.
they're gonna be better at power output
Mhm.
than long distance anything. Narrows are like swimmers, sprinters,
Narrows are
baseball
sprinters?
players, huh? Yeah.
And he also says that with a wide you want to bias more heel strike exercises, which I won't have time to go into today, but he has a list of like heel strike versus toe off exercises, like meaning like would you do a lunge with your front foot elevated or your back foot elevated, heels up, toes up kind of thing. I won't have time to get to that, but that's like, this is your typical assessment for someone that's wide. Like they hinge their squat, they can get their middle back, toe touch to mid shin kind of thing. Narrow, they're more springy, they're compressed laterally, expanded anterior posteriorly, so that's why they can get that to come in because they can expand and compress there. So they're more biased into external rotation, extension, supination, so you would want to work on the opposite with them. They're better at squatting than hinging. This is their typical, or what you would find with someone that's a narrow. They have a butt wink at the end of their squat. Their feet supinate. They have poor of the Apley's one. Guess they have pretty good hip flexion. I know when I was talking to Taylor about my squat, I was butt winking at the bottom of my squat, right?
You're narrow.
When you go too low.
Yeah, when I go too low. So what he says, like if someone is butt winking, is to do more of a box squat because that's going to help drive internal rotation because you're forcing that to stay where it is. Do I have time to go into more?